की Shambhala Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada ki Jai Amrita Pranam Sapari Vichara Saraswati Sisima Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Hare Prabhupada ki Ananta Vaishnava ki Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki Pendikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Gadadhara Saraswati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Kundal Hare Govinda ki Mathura Vrindavan ki Mayapurdam ki Jagannath ki Yudhalavandam ki Jamuna Maya Ganga Maya ki Mississippi Maya ki Srimati Tulsi Devi ki Bhakti Devi ki Sri Harina Sankitan ki Sankitanya ki Chancellor Book Distribution ki Chancellor Prasad Distribution ki Chancellor Cap Protection ki Shri go past me Go Premanandi All graces and devotees All graces and devotees All graces and devotees Bless Shri Guru and Shri Gaura Bless Shri Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Welcome. It's a great honor for me to be here. Somehow or other Krishna arranged it. We're traveling all over the world. I hitched the lift with the Vishnu Jan Prabhu. He's been around the world 10 times doing Harinams in all the cities of the world. I've just been with him for 5 or 6 years. So we do Harinams in all the cities of the world every day. And that's mission actually.
And he looks like Vishnu John too.
In this way we can visit different temples. But I've always seen on the map Utama, I've heard about Utama. And I've always thought, what's it like? And now I know. I'm here. And come to see the cows especially. And I've been preaching in Nepal for many years, since Prabhupada left 77. And we have 2 goshalas actually. We have a goshala in South Nepal, over 100 cows. And we have a small one in Kathmandu of 20-25 cows. And, They just made a film actually. Nepal has made a film about cow protection, and I could send it to your channel. It might be interesting. And so we just came from New Vrindavan. We made a little movie about milking the cows in New Vrindavan. So looking forward to being with the cows again. My accordion is empowered by Gopa, my cow now. There's a little container here and full of cows. So, by the mercy of the cows, we're here today, and of you all. So, okay, just a bit of an icebreaker. Okay. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 13, Text 9. This chapter is entitled The Appearance of Lord Varaha. You have any pigs here? No?
Yeah, plenty of wild ones.
Oh, wild ones?
Oh, yeah.
Wild Varahas. Better watch out. Okay. Text 9. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Pritas,
Pritas,
Yogyam,
Yogyam,
Aham, Tatam,
Tatam,
Swasti,
Swasti,
Stat,
Stat,
Vam,
Vam,
Sthitishvaram,
Siddhishvara,
Yan,
Yan,
Nirvijalikena,
Nirvyalikena,
Hrida,
Hrida,
Shadim,
Sadim,
Merjim,
Vedati,
Atmana Pitam,
Atmana Pitam,
Brahmavacha,
Brahmavacha,
Visastubhyam Aham Tata,
Vidyastubhyam Aham Tata,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvaram,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvaram,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvaram,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvaram,
Yan Nivyalikena, Yan Nivyalikena Hridam,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hridam,
Shadi Metyatmana Pitam,
Sati Metyatmana Pitam,
Brahmovacha,
Brahmovacha,
Vichastubhyam Aham Tatam,
Vidyastubhyam Aham Tata,
Swasti Stadvam, Kritishvaram,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvaram,
Yan Nivyalikena Hridam,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hridam,
Shadi Metyatmana Pitam,
Sati Metyatmana Pitam,
Brahmovacha,
Brahmovacha,
Ritastubhyam Aham Tata,
Vidyastubhyam Aham Tata,
Swasti Stadvam Kshitishvara,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvara,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hrida,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hridam,
Shadi Metyatmanarpitam,
Sati Metyatmana
Brahmovacha,
Brahmovacha,
Vidastubhyam Aham Tata,
Vidyastubhyam Aham Tata,
Svasti Stadvam Sitisvira,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvara,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hrida,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hridam,
Shadi Meti Amanpritam,
Sati Metyatmana Pitam,
Brahmovacha,
Brahmovacha,
Vidyastubhyam Aham Tata,
Vidyastubhyam Aham Tata,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvara,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvara,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hridam,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hridam,
Sari Medyatmana Pitam,
Sati Metyatmana Pitam,
Brahmovacha,
Brahmovacha,
Ritastubhyam Aham Tata,
Vidyastubhyam Aham Tata,
Swasti Stadvam Kshitishvara,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvara,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hrida,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hridam,
Sadimeti Atmanarpitam.
Sati Metyatmana Pitam.
Ladies,
Brahmavacha,
Brahmovacha,
Vitastubhyam Aham Tata,
Vidastubhyam Aham Tata,
Swasti Stadvam Kshitishvara,
Swasti Stadvam, Kshitishvara,
Nirvyalikena Hrida,
Yan Nirvyalikena Hridam,
Shadi Metyatmanarpitam,
Sati Metyatmana Pitam.
Brahma Uvacha,
Brahmovacha,
Brahma said,
Brahma said,
Pritaham,
Pritaham,
please,
please,
Chubhyam,
Chubhyam,
unto you,
unto you,
Aham,
Aham,
I,
I,
Tatam,
Tatam,
my dear son,
my dear son,
Swasti,
Swasti,
all blessings,
all blessings,
start,
start,
let there be,
let there be,
Vam,
Vam,
unto you both,
unto you both,
Shiti Ishvara,
Kshitishvara,
O Lord of the world,
O Lord of the world,
Yat,
Yat,
because,
because,
Nirvyalikena,
Nirvyalikena,
without reservation,
without reservation,
Hridam,
Hridam,
by the heart,
by the heart,
Shadim,
Shadi,
give instruction,
give instruction,
Ma,
Ma,
unto unto me. Iti. Thus. Atmana. By self. Apitam. Surrendered. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Lord Brahma said, my dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you, and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have, without reservation, surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions. Please repeat. Lord Brahma said, my dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you, and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have, without reservation, surrendered yourself. You have, without reservation, surrendered yourself unto me. With your heart. For my instructions. Purport. The relationship between the Father and the Son is always sublime. The Father is naturally disposed with goodwill towards the Son, and he is always ready to help the Son in his progress in life. But in spite of the Father's goodwill, the Son is sometimes misguided because of his misuse of personal independence. Every living entity, however small or big he may be, has the choice of independence. If the Son is unreservedly willing to be guided by the Father is 10 times more eager to instruct and guide him by all means. The Father and Son relationship, as exhibited here in the dealings of Brahma and Manu, is excellent. Both the Father and the Son are well qualified, and their example should be followed by all humankind. Manu, the Son, unreservedly asked the Father Brahma to instruct him, and the Father, who was full of Vedic wisdom, was very glad to instruct. The example of the Father of mankind may be rigidly followed by mankind, and that will advance the cause of the relationship of fathers and sons. Om Gana Tirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshuramitam Tena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah Shri Chaitanya Mahavishnu Sapitam Yena Putale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Svapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Brahma said, Brahmo Vacha, Pritastubhyamaham Tata, Svastu Stadvam Chitishvaram, Yanni Vyali Kenarida, Shadi Mechat Panapanam. Lord Brahma said, my dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you, and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have without reservation surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions. The Prophet says this is a good example to be followed by all humankind. Unfortunately, we're not human beings. Yet, anyway. One day we may become humankind. This is the problem. Kali Yuga. Even amongst us devotees, they were talking with Prabhupada. I don't know where they were walking. I was saying, Prabhupada, if we can't finish our rounds, what should we do? And Prabhupada was saying, well, we should make them up the next day. And this is just a précis of the conversation. But it came down to the point, Prabhupada. If you can't finish your rounds, you're not a human being. You're so heavy. You're not a human being. You're in front of the deities, in front of the fire, in front of the spiritual master. You promise. A dog cannot promise, animal cannot promise. No dog can promise, no animal can promise. It's under the control of their senses. They have no intelligence to make a promise. So one day I said, but listen, I know somebody who's working so hard, and he doesn't have time, and he's always not finishing his work. Well, he may. In future, we may have a chance of human life, something like that. He probably said. You may come to the standard in the future sometime. So this is Kali Yuga. Prayanal Paya Sasabhya Kalapasmin Yugeshana Mandasamanda Masaya Mandabhagya Hiyopadi. People are short-lived, unlucky, misguided, always disturbed. You know this is a standard quote. And we're living in a society where actually animals, polished animals. And Harinam Ruchi, we see this every day. Of course, we're also animals. We probably just fished us out of the pigsty, the wild pigsty. The prophet just fished us out, training us up to be human beings. And so we don't have much, to look down on them. The only thing that we have is the Holy Name. We managed to get the Holy Name from Srila Prabhupada and start chanting. And that was our good fortune. And one way or another, maybe may have come through, meeting a devotee, reading a book, taking prasadam, and gradually we started chanting. And then we begin to realize, well, maybe it's true. I'm not this body. Maybe it's true, After all, Back to my hat, by the way. Where's my hat? You bring my hat. After all, it's true what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 2:13. You can't ignore it. What Krishna says, it's reasonable, common sense. Dehinos vinyata dehi komaram yovanam jaratata dehantara prapidiras tatranamagis. As the embodied soul passes in this body from childhood to youth to old age, similarly the soul passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Let's hope it works now.
Music play mode.
Childhood to youth to old age. Something wrong with this little black boy. Black Lives Matter, the light's not going on. Any technician here? You can fiddle around with the collection. So actually this is so obvious, you know. Krishna consciousness, Sri Guranath used to say, or maybe Kali Prabhupada used to say, Krishna consciousness so simple you might miss it. It's obvious, you know, that we're not this body, but you know, we're programmed from childhood to youth to old age. And we went to college and school and they taught us all this scientific stuff. And this scientific stuff is, you know, asachyam apratistam te jagat ahora nishvaram aparaspara sambuddham. Anyway, the demons in 16th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is describing the demonic nature. Asachyam, they believe. There's no truth. There's no truth. Do your own thing. I'm independent. Asachyam apratistam. There's no absolute foundation to anything. Asachyam apratistam jagat ahorani. There's no controller. There's no controller. Anishwaram. Jagat ahorani, jagat ahorani, aparaspara. It's happened by chance, you know, just like a man or girl and boy feel lusty and, you know, that's it. And they have some offspring, like cats and dogs, you know. It's just chance. And this is a whole education system all over the world. And it's, you know, it's actually asuric, it's demonic. And especially in the 8th and 9th verse of that chapter. Because I'm very conscious of this. Because we're bombarded with all this propaganda from the scientists, you know, in every direction, especially if you look at the newsreels on the internet, I know what's going on. It's the scientists, the scientists are discovering things under the earth, the scientists are measuring the ice caps, the scientists are, you know, checking out the volcanoes, the scientists are going to space, they're kind of going, who are these scientists? You know, we all know actually, Prabhupada is saying the same thing over again. You know, our senses are imperfect, we're likely to make mistakes, we're likely to be illusioned, we're likely to cheat. And yet we believe all these people. And what are they doing? Eating meat, having illicit sex, gambling, intoxication. Why should we trust that? Why should we believe him? You know, Prabhupada didn't believe him. Prabhupada said they're mudras, they're rascals. He doesn't often say they're demons. You more often say that they're mudras. Avajanti ma mudha. Namam druskitina mudha. Prapachinte naradama. Maya parichityana asuram brahmamashita. They don't surrender to Krishna. They don't want God. They may say, I'm a Catholic. I believe President Biden says he's Roman Catholic. Trump, he had a photograph of himself in front of the chapel in front of the White House. But the Bible was upside down. You know that? Yeah. The Bible was upside down. So, you know, of course some asuras are better than other asuras. I don't want to get into politics, but you know, the basic thing is that we're being ruled by asuras. And this is going on in the whole universe. And in this chapter we're going to hear about the appearance of Lord Varaha. Because the planet was being knocked down to the lower, the Garbhadak ocean by this Hiranyaksha, who was mining for, Hiranya means gold, right? He was mining for so much gold that the planet was going out of orbit. Now we're taking black gold. I mean, it's totally crazy, you know? I mean, I travel all over the world, and everywhere, cars, planes. We can't live without a machine, Prabhupada said. You Westerners, unless you smell a machine, You can't be happy. You have to have a machine, or else you can't be happy. This is our degradation, you know. We're little demons. Unless we have a machine, we can't be happy. We have to smell that oil, that petrol, and we have to feel that power. It's actually mystic power. We want those mystic powers to travel all over the world. You know, this is it. Each one of us has a little Rathi Yatra card. And here I am, Lord Jagannath. Ishwarami Hambogi. I am the controller. Out of my way. Yeah. I read in Mexico, in news item, one of these huge trucks, you know, these big trucks, they like travel along, and they come to this toll gate. There's a toll gate where everyone has to pay the money. Now the truck driver must have fallen asleep, and he was run full speed into the toll gate. Killed 19 people. 19 people were killed. The guy nodded off and didn't stop. So what a civilization we've built for ourselves. It's completely artificial and unnatural. How can we be happy life? We're full of anxiety. Full of anxiety. Because ultimately, for instance, this COVID-19, what is the real anxiety? I did I'll ask someone else to do it. Check out how many people die every minute. Interested to know? In 1 minute, how many people die on this planet? Mm-hmm. Now, if you count abortions, which we do, 250 people die every minute. Human beings die, so-called human beings, die every minute. And then, okay, if you don't count abortions, then it comes down to like 120. Okay? Then next, cardiac, heart failure, heart attack. Next, that's like 25%. Then cancer, 30%. And COVID is 7%. And then natural disasters, floods, and things, suicides. It's down to deaths of 0.7, 0.3, other diseases. So what are we really frightened of? Of death. You know, we're all frightened of death. That's material world, marcha loca. We're full of anxiety because we identify with this body. That's the problem. Because we think we're this body. I am American, I'm from England, born in Birmingham. I was born in Birmingham. This is illusion, I wasn't born in Birmingham. That was written on my passport, 1945. So, I'm a war baby. So this is about fathers. And I just wanted to tell you about a conversation I had with my father. You're talking about a nice relationship with my father. So my father, I mean, he's a real gentleman. He had a middle-class family in Birmingham. He was technical manager of a big company, Canadian company, which made this hard-facing metal, hard-facing alloy, which they use on turbine blades. It doesn't corrode. It's non-ferrous. It's made of titanium, cobalt, alloy, and nickel alloy, and something like that. So he's a very gentleman. My mother was educated at university, and I'll tell you the same stories. It's funny, you know. But so they had a reasonable nice house, had a car, and a house full of books. My father said, "We don't want TV in our house. It's for fools." He said, "Like, we don't want TV." And they wouldn't let a dog in the house. The neighbor came around with a dog. They said, "Tie your dog up outside." We don't have dogs in the house. But we have cats. So, because I was going to school and I was getting depressed, you know, adolescence, trying to begin to think, what's it all about, you know? pass all these exams, so much tension. I couldn't see the purpose of it because I become disillusioned with going to the chapel at school. Because I was a small minor public school outside Birmingham, and had a big chapel, a big fresco of Jesus, and we used to go and sing hymns. I used to love Lord Jesus. But then the chaplain, as he's smoking cigarettes, he used to drive his car, he was getting paid a salary. I thought, well, he's not like Lord Jesus. I become disillusioned. So in my adolescence I was just running. What's the purpose of all this? Is Jesus true? Who am I? So one day I asked my father, Father, what's the point? I mean, what I meant by point was, what's the purpose of life? What's the point, Father? I was genuinely, my parents were thinking, he's insecure. Why is our son insecure? We've given him everything. Nice house. He doesn't have to worry. We'll pay for his education. And so my father said, well, son, well, you pass your exams, don't you? You pass your exams, and then you get a good job. Then you get married, have a family, don't you? And then you're happy. It didn't register like in my brain. My parents were happy. And there was an anxiety. My mother used to say, well, we've had this wallpaper up for 2-3 years. And the sofa has to have a new covering. And maybe we have to have a new car. And like this, I said, well, is this the purpose of life? Is this the goal of life? Is this all it's about, And one time, I'm saying the same old story, but anyway, maybe you haven't heard it. One time I was with my mother. She was educated. Sheffield University, MA in English Literature. Mummy, where do we come from? Mummy, she was doing her washing up in the kitchen sink. Mummy, where do we come from? It's a good question. And she went red in the face. She went really awkward, And she said, well, when Mummy and Daddy kiss. And I knew there was something phony about it, I just couldn't, it didn't make sense, I come from some kiss, If only my mother had said to me, well, dear, it's like this. You know what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita? You're not this body. You're an eternal spirit soul. You've never been born. You've never been born, you'll never die. You're everlasting, eternal, primeval. And you're not slain when this body is slain. By Krishna's grace, like agency of my Father, you entered my womb. Now you have a chance to learn about your eternal relationship with Krishna. But she didn't. Unfortunately, my father was a scientist, my mother was also scientifically inclined. So this is a problem in the world, even uneducated people. So what are we going to do? How are we going to solve this problem? And so, I'm a simple person, I did have one quality that was a little bit artistic. Not autistic, but maybe autistic too. But so I love this chanting Hare Krishna, the Maha Mantra. As soon as I started chanting, I realized that this was something different from drugs and sex, and there's something different. It's transcendental. And so the only place I had left was ISKCON London, Soho Street. No, it wasn't Soho Street, Berry Place. And then I realized I must read Bhagavad Gita. After I read it, actually I read some books. It must have been psycho-style things from America in the head shops in London. You know, the hippie shops where all the latest stuff came from San Francisco and Krishna Conscious magazine. I read one, I couldn't make head or tail of it because I hadn't been chanting. But after chanting, then it made sense. I read back to Godhead. And I thought, now I must get Bhagavad Gita. So when I read the Bhagavad Gita introduction, it was the little blue Macmillan, the first Macmillan paperback Bhagavad Gita in 71. I read the introduction, and then I was so happy. Now I met my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, in the pages of Bhagavad Gita. So these things go hand in hand, the holy name, and the books, and the prasada. It was Malati who gave me my first prasada, actually. This is another story. When I was a hippie, she gave me prasada. So Prabhupada's my real father. That's the real father. The one who can give you a second birth by his words and awaken my spiritual identity, your spiritual identity, everyone's spiritual identity through the holy name. And so Krishna Vanati Sakrishnam Sankopavasta Pasanam Yoga Sankirtana Paya Yajanti Samadhis. So when we go on Harinam, we actually get pretty people in touch with their real father, Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, and we're giving them a chance to awaken from this animal life to human life. Dhamena hina pashubhi samana. The difference between animal and human beings is dharma. So if they just once hear the holy name, if they once take prasadam, if they once, see the deities bow down, then they're getting the chance of a renewed human life, either this life or next life. And the perfection is in the pipeline. Yeah. In the pipeline, we're in the pipeline to go back home, back to God. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thank you very much. How long have we got to go? Time for any questions? Hold on. $8:14. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have time for questions?
Yeah.
What time do we usually finish?
8:30, sir.
8:30, okay. I run out of steam. I just thought it better if we have questions. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.
You have one over here. One right there. To your left.
Maharaj, sometimes it seems as we get older in Krishna consciousness, we can become, there's a period where we become lethargic or basically complacent. And so I'm at that stage where I'm trying to understand how